Hello everybody, this is Lilla in Hawaii. I'm afraid it's a little noisy today, but I think you can hear me okay. Someone asked me if I would show them how I make the Velo crochet bags that are very easy. They're sort of self-lined in a way. Not self-lined, but lined all in one foul swoop, as it were. So here you go. First of all, I had a big table runner, and it had these squares. So I cut out 2 squares for this particular pouch, and so it's folded at the bottom, and here at the top is where I released it from the other squares that were on there. I like it because it's got nice crochet around the edges. The only place that I think needs a little additional is on the bottom at the fold, because I think that doesn't sort of do it justice. It doesn't sort of finish the bag. I also needed to make a patch for the front, and I'll show you that in a minute, and then I cut off a piece of trim that's going to go on the bottom. So first of all, this was one piece like so, and I took that to the sewing machine and sewed on some muslin just inside the edges, so it's sewn on right around. So that's the lining, and it's flat at this point, so it's really easy. I did sew across the ends as well, and if it's really stretchy, sometimes I'll put a stay, which is another piece of fabric, across the ends, but in this case I didn't need to do that. After that, I folded to get the placement, and I'm going to at first add this to the bottom, and it's a little tricky because it's on the fold, and I can do it one of 2 ways. I can open it up, and then I have to be careful to sew it like so right across there. So I think I'm going to do it that way and see how that works out. So let me go to the sewing machine and I'll show you how I do that. I have to sort of keep it right in the center of the former design. So there we go. And I've got just matching thread, and I elongated the stitch, but it is a straight stitch. I find it buries very nicely. You can't see it. Okay, so here we go. So I back stitch a little there and cut that off. And let me see what I've done here. So here we go. I think I like that side as the front side. I hope you can see that. Let me pull that up. You see, when you sew it on like that, it is a little bit tricky, and it looks a little different on each side. So that side, I don't like it so well because I can see the top of the lace. That'll be the back. But in order to sort of make that look a little better, I'm going to go over that with another stitch to flatten it just a little more. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to do a zigzag. Okay, there you go. Now let me see what I've done. Okay, so here's the piece, and here's the other side. This is the back, and I am going to use this as the front. The next thing, while it's flat, I want to put on a patch of some sort of ornamentation, and I had this little Eiffel Tower already printed out, and I've sewn a little piece of lace at the top, and here I've got a piece of scrim. Now scrim, I know people get it confused with gauze and that sort of thing. Scrim is actually a little more densely woven, and in the old days they used to put it on the wall before they put wallpaper on. Okay, so I've got that, and it's not enough to go up to the top, but that's okay. So I'm just figuring out how I'm going to do this. It's a little on the wrinkled side. I don't want to iron anything though, so I think it's better if I take it to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to sew that scrim on the back. And that way I can catch in if there's anything. Yeah, there you go. And I'm basically making just another little collage patch. Okay. This is an iron-on patch, this Eiffel Tower. It is iron-on, but I'm not going to press it till the whole thing is done. It's sewn on, so it really doesn't need to be wound particularly. Okay. Alright, so the next thing is there's my little patch, and I didn't have enough scrim to go to the bottom, so I'm going to look around for something, and I think I've got this little piece of lace, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that so it hangs down the bottom, because I want it to look like that. So I'll just add that right now real quick. It's a matter of just building up layers as you see fit. And my theory is just grab anything that's sort of on your desktop. I don't go searching for something, because chances are I'll never find what I want anyway. Okay. So there we go. I'll cut all the threads later. So here we go. So now I like that. I think that looks fine. And before I sew it together, I'm going to add that to the front. So I probably, let me see, I think I could pull that down to where that covers it, just a little down there, so it hangs down over the side a little bit. And I'm going to put a pin, just one pin, to hold it. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm just going to sew around that again. Oh. So my foot came off. Okay, there we go. So now I'm sewing through the lining as well. It helps to hold the lining in place. I was thinking I'd put a couple of buttons on this too, on the patch, and I'll do that later. And I know you know how to put buttons on things, so I won't be showing you that part of it. It's a little hard to sew this because the little the crochet pieces are quite thick, and they're quite open, so you've got to be careful that things don't get stuck in them. And it does wear your needles out. I go through quite a few needles doing this. Okay, here we go. I'll just sew down to where I started, which was right there. It's almost giving it a, because it's got so many layers, it's almost like a little bit of a padded look. Now, of course, what do I need to do? I need to sew up the sides. And I always start at the top, so I've got that evenly matched. And I'm going to sew right down each side. So I'll back stitch at the top. And I'm going to make this stitch a little bit longer. There we go. Yeah. And because it's lace, if it's not quite fitting together properly at the bottom, you can always push it in with your fingers and sort of scrunch it in a little bit, because it's lace, it's got lots of room for give. I'm also catching the lining in, by the way. And when you look inside of this, you will not see the seam. Let me show you. See, that's how it's going to look inside. Of course, I've missed that a little bit, but that's okay. It's secured nicely. And then this side, I don't want to take too much of a seam, because I don't want it to make the bag too small, you know. Okay, so back I go. And frontwards again. If I'm taking too big a seam, well then the purse will be too small and won't be very useful. This kind of little pouch is just really a little signature pouch. It's just really for show. You wear it as a neck piece or just to wear with jeans or something as some sort of little ornamentation. Okay, so I've got that done. So there's the bag. And I'm going to go down the other side again where I missed a little bit there. I'll go down there and do that. So I'll do that right now. I can see I have to turn it over to the back and I can see where I missed. Just right on the edge. There we go. Now I've already